some music coming through. Hello, welcome to the session. Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Justin Crosley, and happy to be back in the studio, fresh off a weekend at the Firestone Walker Invitational Beer Festival. And so fresh is probably not the best word to describe my current state of being, but this show always gets me riled up, so we'll be all right.
I can only imagine the joy
I've got
of being
a little,
out there.
It's a lot of fun. I'll do a little rap for you guys, not to make anybody who didn't go jealous, but just to give you a quick rundown. Our guests today are Mark and Natalie from Bruehol Benicia Brewing, which I'm embarrassed to say I only recently learned of because I wanted you guys at my Spring Brews Festival. And I found you, and I was like, and I realized you'd been around for more than just this year, and I felt like a real jerk, and invited you guys to come out, and which you did. I was really honored to have you. And then after having your beer, wanted to have you guys on the show. So Mark, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Natalie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys doing it. We had to do a little schedule rearranging, which I always hate doing, but you guys are very accommodating, so I'm glad you're here now. We're going to have a good time. We've got 2 of the Brew Hole beers on tap right here at the Hop Grenade, so you can come down tonight, you can come down tomorrow, and in fact, I think one of the beers we're going to try tonight that's on tap is like the official release of a West Coast IPA, right?
That's right.
What beer is that?
It's called Lazy Days.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about that in the next segment, I think, and I'm excited that you guys chose us or let us be like the release point of it. That's pretty cool. That's fun. I like that. All right, let me do just a couple of things here. I want to thank our sponsor of this show, More Beer. You go to morebeer.com. Check them out. As you know, they've been my sponsor since before we ever even started our very first podcast, which wasn't even a podcast back then. That's how old we are. And go check out their Comos line of kegerators and jockey boxes. I filled my Comos kegerator in my RV at the Invitational this weekend, and they're just killer. They do so great. They're so low energy that you can have a kegerator in your RV, for heaven's sake, which I feel like excessive, but I'm not hating on it.
You're living your best life is what you're doing.
I'm trying
That's
to.
Awesome that it went in your RV.
I'm really trying to. Go to morebeer.com, check them out. Thank them if you get the chance. That's one of the ways you can support us. And then I also want to give a shout out because we have a beer on tap this week from 21st Amendment, and it's their Coaster Pils. It's like a hoppy pilsner. And Teresa, you're a Simcoe fan. It's like it's Northern Brewer and Simcoe hops. It's tasting great on tap. And I don't know that I've ever had a Simcoe-based hoppy pils.
Yeah, I think, I do. I love me some Simcoe.
Yeah.
But I think the fun thing that's happening is a lot of people are making pilsners that are not based on German hops nowadays. So it's getting to be more of a thing. Like the American pilsner that's put together more like a German pils, but it's got some good West Coast hops.
Yeah. Heck yeah. So it's good. It's on tap right now at the Hop Grenade. You should come out and try it with us. Okay, and let me just do some quick housekeeping too. Ways that you can support the show. A lot of you still reaching out to do that, and I appreciate it so much. You can always hit the donate button on our homepage. That'll sign you up through PayPal. You can do a one-time donation. If you got $5 on you, then you can have 5 on it. Or you could be a recurring donor. We appreciate that too. If you don't want to spend any extra money, I understand times are tough. In fact, I was ranting about how weird inflation and money is right now to Teresa before the show. if I drink enough of the Brew Hole beer tonight, you might hear me do that again at the end of this show, because times are just really weird right now. But if you don't want to spend any extra money, you could just do your Amazon shopping like you normally do. Click the Amazon link on our homepage. You'll see it there. And then you could just do your shopping like normal, and it helps us out. The other thing you could do, of course, is support our sponsors and our guests, too. You know, if you hear us talking to Brew Hole and you want to pop in there, you should tell them that you heard them on the Brewing Network. And the same with our sponsors. Go shop from them. There's plenty of them to do that. 21st Amendment, of course, more beer. Williams Brewing Company, Beersmith Brewing Software, which if you're a home brewer, you should be using the Beersmith Brewing Software. And you get a free 21-day trial of that, so you don't even have to take my word for it. So please support our sponsors. And then we always like to hear from you. So send feedback to feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. And we'd love to hear from you. Good, bad, and ugly. You know, if you've been listening to this show for a long time, we read it all. So send it over to us. Feedback@thebrewingnetwork.com. So yeah, I got to lucky enough again. In fact, I've only ever missed 1 year. The Firestone Invitational Beer Festival was back this year. Now known as one of the best, beer fests on earth. And it is in terms of the selection of beer and the way they do it, but also the way I've talked about this before, the way they take care of the brewers and the sponsors, and in my case, the media. They just really roll out the red carpet. And in fact, I always wish, every time I go, I wish I could do the things they do at my beer festival. Like, we try to make it easy on the brewers as possible, but they feed you 3 meals a day, and they rent out a water park on Friday that we got to go hang out at and do water slides as the brewers welcome.
Oh my gosh.
They set up a brewers camp with, beer, of course. It's like a beer trailer and cornhole, and it's always just so nice.
It's definitely my goal in life. I mean, I'm a very goal-oriented person, and
right.
My goal is to get invited to this somehow.
I think we can work on that. I think we need to get Matt to come up here and do a show.
Yes.
So this is not from Matt. This is my observation over the years. And I think he said this a little bit, but I think to get invited, there's really 2 criteria, right? And one of them you're completely in control of, and the other one you're not. The first one is you do really have to make great beer. But many brewers who don't get invited do make great beer. Yep. The second part is I'm pretty sure you have to have partied with Matt.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
I was able to meet him at the CBC, but we didn't. I wouldn't say we bonded. So
right, you got to bond. I think
we have to bond.
Well, that's what I say. Maybe we'll get him up for a show where you're co-hosting, Teresa, and
yes.
we'll see if we can make that connection happen. Because I know a lot of breweries that are great, and I know that he would think they're great too, but maybe hasn't met them or tried their beer, and that's just sort of the nature of an invitational,
Oh, and I mean, we all have to have something to aspire to, right?
That's right.
So.
That's right. Keep it on the list. I did a little PSA for him at the end, because I hear brewers complain all the time, especially if they know him. Just because you know him doesn't mean you're invited. And then he'll get texts and stuff, get people mad about it. And he's just well, what do you not know about an invitational, man? I just didn't invite you yet. Just hang on, man. Be patient. What is something what? Did I break some rule? It's a fucking invitational.
That's what makes it special.
That's right. So I did this little PSA at the end of what I do work for them there to do their panel discussions, which if my recordings worked out okay, I haven't checked them yet. I'll be posting those for you too. God, I forgot to cut the camera. To me, you've just been looking at a logo out there on YouTube the whole time. All right, here's my pretty hungover face for you YouTube people if you want to see that. Anyway, I just told everyone, I was just be patient. You might get invited 1 year, but don't be a dick. The best way to never get invited is to send a message that is dicky.
Oh yeah. You must have lost my invitation in the mail.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah, or just or making him you have to. Yeah, just don't do that. Yeah. Just wait, and you'll get to go one day.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah,
it's the worst.
Yeah,
it is worst. I mean, it's the worst in every situation, but especially
absolutely.
This one, I'm sure.
People say that to me all the time. When I go to beer festivals, if I'm waiting in line or something, they're like, "Dude, you're Justin for the Brew Network. Why don't you go just say something?" I'm like, because you know what a fucking asshole you sound like if you say, "Do you know who I am?" Yeah. Also, because most people don't know who I am, but it's a weird thing to do. It
is weird.
Never do that.
No.
Tasty used to do it, but he didn't have to say it. People knew who he was. Right. Or he'd hand you a Tasty treat, and they're like, "Here you go, come on in." He had something to offer, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just a great festival, and I got to meet and try meet some new people. try some new beers. Got to hang out with our friends from Sierra Nevada. Teresa, Byron, and Terrence were there.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a really good time. They brought like a amazing, I don't know, 8-year-old barley wine or something.
Really?
That was just something else. And that's the cool thing about that fest. Like, you have to bring, I think you at least have to bring 2 different types of beers, and many people bring more. And one of them has to be like off the charts. It's just one of the rules.
Wow. Yeah.
Which is easy for him. Like, so for my festival, and you got the invite. It does say, please bring us something special, like one thing. It doesn't, and I don't demand that it has to be a 5-year-old something, but just, it can't be, for example, if I invite Sierra Nevada, the first beer can't be Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. Okay, but the second one can. I just do that. Like,
Right.
if you bring us one good... Okay, but Matt, because everyone wants to go to this, he can really be like, look, they both have to be off the charts. Just don't, you're not bringing me Mirror Pond, okay? You're like, you have to bring... Nothing against Mirror Pond. So you end up with all these, like, stellar beers that are hard to get. And then there's just beer nerds galore, which I'm one of. I don't like hanging out with beer nerds as much, but I am one of them. So it is nice to just have that experience. So I just want to thank the folks at Firestone once again for having me and letting me do the panels. We did 2 cool beer panels. One of them was the obligatory new hops panel. I think every event I ever do has to have some sort of hops panel, right? And that's fine. It's always fun to talk about. And then the second one was a Brewers Tell All panel, where we let listeners and people both on the Brewing Network site and the Firestone social media submit questions ahead of time.
Oh, that's cool.
It was cool. One of my favorite ones was a lot of them were a lot less controversial than I'd hoped for. You know me, I like a good awkward question. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, let's stump somebody.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't really have that. We had cool questions, but the one I really liked was, I might ask this of more brewers on the show, if you could do one last collaboration beer. So, like, it's your last one. I don't know what, like, maybe you die in a tragic brewery accident after that or something. I don't know what happens. But it's you only get one more collaboration beer. Who would it be with, past or present? So you can pick anybody in his, like who would it be with?
That's a great question.
Right, past or present. And then, of course, the second part was, like, and what would the beer be?
Oh.
And we got some cool answers. But that's a fun question, right?
That is really fun.
It's the only one I gave the brewers ahead of time because I thought you don't want to stump. It'd be much more fun if they get to, like, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure 2 of the 4. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say Ken Grossman was obviously, like, somebody that popped into everybody's mind, which I can agree with. Like, but like 1985 Ken Grossman, like, that's who I would pick. I don't want. By the way, I love current Ken Grossman, but if it's anybody past or present, I want to, like, smoke weed and do 1985 Ken Grossman.
Oh,
right?
man.
Yeah.
That would be something.
Yeah.
That'd be wild.
Yeah. That'd be wild for Ken Grossman.
And
He'd be
for
like,
Ken, yeah.
what do you mean? Like, it'd be like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but it would be Ken and Steve's Excellent Adventure.
Yes. Like, that'd be a
Right?
good brew day, right?
That'd be amazing.
Vinny's at the top of my list, right? Like, he'd be, but yeah, anybody, maybe, like, he wasn't a brewer, but, like, could Michael Jackson, not the singer, but the beer Michael Jackson, could he be part of the collaboration? Like, maybe he would be in there with me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that one was fun. It was a good panel. All right, so thanks again to Firestone Walker for doing that, putting on that event and inviting me and my crew down there. Appreciate it very much. Hey, look for those tickets on sale. You can get them. So, like, for next year, they just happen to sell out in 5 minutes. So you probably want to go over to FirestoneWalker.com, sign up on their newsletter or whatever it is you need to do, so that, like, you get first dibs on buying tickets. Because even though you might not get the full brewer experience, the festival is unparalleled. Like, I love my festival. But man, that one's like something else. All right. Well, let's just get right into the beer, shall we? So, Mark, you were a home brewer you've been a home brewer for like 30 years or something, right?
I'll always be a home brewer.
And still a home brewer, okay.
If I ever leave the commercial industry, I'm always gonna brew in my garage.
Did you, like, grow up brewing with your dad or something, or was it after?
I did. I was playing soccer. He was dragging me with him to all the different Old Capitol and hole-in-the-wall Arsenal brewers with Benicia.
Yeah.
And I had to learn.
How old were you when you brewed your first batch of beer with your old man?
17.
Nice. Okay.
15 was when I started getting dragged out with them, though.
Okay.
So
all right. Yeah.
there was things that I'm playing soccer after soccer games.
You got to do a stop.
All right, what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I started learning more. I was more fascinated with the engineering aspects of what was going on.
Even like at 17 you were?
Why is this beer stand a 3-tier, and why does this guy have a beer stand that's a single level? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Why are they different, Dad?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he's a nuclear welder, and this guy over here is a aircraft engineer.
Wow.
So then I realized my dad didn't know the answers.
Kind of, though, but...
Right. I had to ask these guys.
Yeah.
So the more I went to these different garage brews, I started to ask the questions.
Okay, nice.
So,
and did you build your brewery at Brew Hole then?
No, we didn't build it. I mean, we've put it together, but we have bought equipment from, what was it? Brewbuilt in Grass Valley.
Nice.
We reached out to Jeff Lewis. I started seeing things over the years. I was introduced to a lot of foreign equipment, either through Speakeasy, through Mike, Eric, and Forrest. So we can talk about Speakeasy and the founding of Speakeasy throughout the night.
Yeah.
But seeing the industry equipment and failures in the engineering, I was fascinated with the engineering.
I see.
And so I really wanted this Benicia Brewery to be founded on local-made, California-made, U.S. steel.
And solidly engineered.
Exactly.
Are you an engineer yourself?
No.
I read on your bio that you both still have day jobs, though, as you're running this brewery. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
We do.
You do. Which I want to talk about, because that's, I think, an important part. I think to break into your dream like this, you can still do it. Like, everyone thinks, well, I've got a family, I can't drop everything, and you guys didn't drop everything, right? So let's back up to that just a little bit, because the brewery, did I have this right, was founded in 2014?
That's correct.
Is that right? With 2 other partners? 3 other partners?
3.
Okay. So you all started this, and it was this same 3-barrel brewery, or what did it start like?
It started as a 3-barrel, but actually even way before that.
Okay.
It started as, all right, we need to start making beer, and we need to put a system together. There was a fabricator here in Concord, and he put together this amazing brew stand. Now, you got to remember, back in the days, More Beer was just coming together, putting together their engineering connections.
Yeah.
There weren't really great beer stands.
Yeah.
So we had a great stand fabricated. We ordered some stout kettles and tanks, 1-barrel tanks, 3 1-barrel fermenters, and we built a giant box, and we had it connected to our walk-in refrigerator, and this is in Vallejo.
Okay.
That refrigerator had a CoolBot, and we actually just turned on a fan on and off to cool this chamber.
For the fermenters.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is the next. This is the next step up from carboys. And now we can manage our environment and our temperature control. And it really made a huge difference.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. So we quickly realized that as we're going to the Northern California hop growers, Northern NCHF, Northern California,
the Homebrew Festival.
Yeah. That, oh my gosh, our beers are incredible. There's some amazing beers at the festival. Mm-hmm. One of the best festivals I've ever been to in my life.
It's gotten better.
Yeah.
Can I just say that? I started going in 2005. It wasn't that good. I'm going to be honest with you. I've said that on the air. There's no secret, but it's certainly gotten better. Homebrewing and brewers have gotten so much better. So, yeah.
I've always had this dream since the early days, and and it rooted in those garage homebrew sessions in Benicia. And later on at Speakeasy, as Forrest, Mike, Eric, and Steve were all graduating from Davis and SF Brewcraft and starting Speakeasy, this is something that I wanted to do.
Okay, yeah.
And we all came together, and as we built this dream, just life takes us all in different directions.
Yep, sure does.
And as it took each one of my partners in a different direction, it also brought me with my life partner.
Oh, really? You guys met during the building of the brewery, or
during
what?
during the building of the brewery. So I was
and wife, I assume, also.
Yeah, we're married.
Okay. By the way, I like the term life partner.
I think life partner
But-
sounds like even more special
He's
than
never
Yeah.
said that before.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, someone's getting laid tonight. But I like that term. Okay. Wait. So you guys met after the brewery opened, or?
We met in
Yeah.
2017.
Okay,
So
okay.
the tap room had been open for like 90 days when we met at the beer booth at the Peddlers Fair in Benicia.
Okay.
And so
Wow. Amazing.
it's just how we met. Yeah.
So that's 2017, right? And then at some point, you guys buy out the partners, though, as I assume you're saying. Life just takes everyone different directions. What year did you buy out the partners?
So I bought out Mark's business partners in 2019, right
Okay.
after we got engaged.
I see. You had to wait for that, didn't you?
All right.
Or buy him out, too. Fuck that
Seriously.
guy. Yeah, you had a choice, Mark.
Yeah.
Be a good guy or you're out, too. Okay, so that's 2019.
2019. Yeah.
And you guys didn't, it looked like maybe you didn't start with a tasting room either. It was just a brewery, or did you always have a tasting room?
2014 to 2017 was just brewing
Okay.
and production, and then 2017, April of 2017, the tap room opened
In Benicia.
in Benicia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that like downtown Benicia is a small place, right? So where's the...
So we're out in the industrial park,
Okay.
which is cool because we're like the field of dreams. Like if you create something fun that people don't have to go downtown for, they won't.
Nice, yeah.
So now with like the evolution of needing food trucks and maintaining that, we have this fun thing where people will come spend the entire day with us.
That's great.
On a Saturday and Sunday, bring the kids, let them run wild. It's
Right.
protected. It's off the beaten path. We've got a lot of people that don't want to be downtown.
Sure.
They don't want the visibility. They'll come hang out, which is nice.
My friend Jamil did that at Heretic.
Exactly.
I thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing, man? He was busy on day one.
That guy's a legend. Every time I
Yeah.
see him, I tell him.
Yeah. No, it was a really smart movie. It was so far out there. I got there and I was like, man, I get it from a production standpoint. Like all of that makes sense. But the tasting room, and boy, was I wrong. You know, just like you're describing too. There's another one locally in like Walnut Creek, Cali Craft,
Yeah.
that has the
Yeah.
same, and they're very family friendly like that. And I think that's like part of the. So okay, so that's where you guys are now.
Yes.
Okay, and are you? Is it open every day, the tasting room? Because you guys have another job.
So we have our tasting room managers here, our tap room managers, all of our staff's here actually.
Nice.
But we're open Wednesday through Sunday. So Wednesday,
Okay.
Thursday, Friday, 4 to 8. Saturday, all day, 12 to 8. Sunday,
Okay.
12 to 6.
Got it. And is that new or like that's not like a COVID thing? You've always just
kept
done
the same
that.
hours.
Okay. Did COVID change much for you guys in terms of the tasting room, or?
Well, we had to close for a little while.
Like everybody,
Like
sure.
everybody.
Yeah.
But then we were able to be a part of a couple really cool grants.
Okay.
We got a small business development grant from the state through our county
Nice.
that allowed us to buy a crowler machine,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
which was cool, right?
Those things are expensive, so that's
Yeah.
very nice.
And it's Dixie canner. It's American made, and so we were able to secure that through writing a grant, and then we were able to secure some funding for outdoor tents, outdoor seating.
Okay.
So we were able to really just kind of shift our entire movement outside.
Oh, that's great.
When we had to.
Yeah.
And then we're working with the city. Benicia has a moratorium on no food trucks, but they're working with us and allowing us to continue the food trucks. Because I try and have food trucks come through that you can't get anywhere else. So I'm not competing
Sure.
with restaurants downtown on purpose.
Well, right, and I can understand. That's a weird moratorium. I can understand it downtown, right?
Yeah.
But not in an industrial park. That's a bit stray. It's a bit antiquated.
Yeah, it is.
So-
A lot of Benicia's stuff is antiquated, but
Okay.
they've been really forward thinking with us and the things that we've brought to them and the ways we've asked for their help.
Good.
They've been really good.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, and I bet other businesses within the area are going to be grateful for these things that you're
Yeah.
doing. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
that's kind of insane that you wouldn't be able to have a food truck at the brewery.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
it's
kind of the same here.
problematic.
Like, there's no moratorium on it here in Concord, but like, I don't have a full kitchen at the Hop Grenade. We sell food. We always have. But the city would come to us and ask, hey, do you mind if we do a food truck event? And I don't care. But then I got restaurants all around me. But so I can kind of, and I'm sensitive to them. So I can kind of understand the downtown thing. But what's the difference out in a,
Yeah, well, we're a standalone business in town. There hasn't been a brewery in
Yeah.
Benicia in, decades.
Right.
So
Okay.
the road that was paved before us has been cemented over with decades of
Yeah.
new bureaucracy.
Sure.
And then so here we are trying to chisel through it and find the new path that works for us and anybody that comes behind us.
Yeah.
And there's some cool breweries that have. Jamil looked at opening in Benicia.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then there was some things that didn't work for him. And we have a friend in town that's thinking about opening a brewery, and she's kind of learning from us as we're telling her, hey, this is what we're dealing with. And it's really just important for us to make it so that, Benicia could be a cool brew community.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about this beer in our glass, too, then we get back to the story. So we're drinking your Pilsner. Why don't you tell us about this, Mark?
So originally our German lagers and pilsners started with Weyermann malts. We wanted to really follow in the footsteps of history. Where are the malts coming from? What's their origin? What's the water profile like? And we had a lot of experience with water, but we'd never run into the water headaches that we would soon run into with Benicia water.
Okay.
We soon found ourselves investing in a chloramine filter. We went with the chloramine filter, cartridge filter, because a chlorine filter is strong, but a chloramine filter is even stronger. So we knew that would strip out in longer duration and
Yeah.
clean our water up. Then we dealt with our redheaded stepchild in town, which is Lake Herman. Sometimes in the winter months, Benicia pulls water from Lake Herman instead of the Delta.
I see. So it
Right.
would change.
So it would change. So our consistency. So we quickly realized, holy crap, we need a water softener too.
Right.
Right. So then over the years, Weyermann malts, the prices just really started to skyrocket, and inconsistencies in supply and demand. We realized that sometimes we might have to diversify our portfolio.
Okay.
We started experimenting with Great Western pills
Mm-hmm.
and Viking malts.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
More beer?
Vito turned us on to some Viking malts.
Nice.
And that was really huge.
Yeah.
And even then, we started to run into little hiccups here and there with the supply chain, with the ships being caught.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Right.
everything. Yeah.
So I think this is a really important time in a brewer's life to really realize that diversifying your recipe with different malts is more important than ever before as we start to see more droughts
Yeah.
and supply chain issues. In order to survive, we need to be more diverse.
Sure. You know, it's funny, just because we've talked about Jamil and you mentioned water too, and I didn't know this for years. I talked to him about it after he opened in Fairfield, because that was another thing I was like, Fairfield? And he sat me down one day and he's like, who's in Fairfield? And he's like, just think about supply chain issues. Budweiser.
Big Bud.
And I was like, and I'm a little slow on the uptake. So I'm like, yeah, all right, I get it. He's like, no, I don't think you get it. There's not going to be a lot of supply chain issues with Bud. There's a glass factory in Fairfield because Bud. Like you can't tell Budweiser we're out of glass. You don't do that. And then you don't mess with their water either. I mean, that water has to be perfect, right? He's like, so there's all these things that, this is long before the supply chain issues we have now. He just was talking about, just over the long run or whenever shit might come up.
Right.
And I was like, God damn it, Jamil, that's genius. He's like, yeah, man, I'd have opened next door to Budweiser if I could have.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, so that's a good, you got to branch out a little bit. All right, so what malt then is in this? Is it back to Weyermann?
Really quickly,
Yeah.
Jamil actually was looking around at locations that had great wastewater treatment.
Yeah.
Any brewery that's looking to start needs to focus on their wastewater treatment.
Sure.
That is the most important aspect of starting a brewery.
Yeah.
And Fairfield really hit that
Okay.
that for him. So
Because it can become very expensive and difficult too.
your wastewater treatment is you're gonna have to purchase things, BioGill wastewater treatment towers, and treat your BODs and your CODs.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
especially for the volume that he's doing. It's it's a lot.
Okay, so the pills. What
So
malt ended up in this?
So this one we're using Viking pills.
Nice.
We've been using Viking pills really consistently, I'd say, for the last year.
Okay.
We're buying in bulk. We've actually started to switch all of our recipes over to the base malt, to the pills.
Nice.
Base malt.
This is delicious, Pilsner.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
This
Love
is a transition. I eventually want to have super sacks of pills.
Sure.
Use it as our core base malt.
So you're doing the 50-pound bags right now. Just,
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. But by the
That's why
pallet.
it's so
By the
Can you
pallet.
tell?
Hey. What you're saving on a gym membership, you're spending on Viking malts.
That's right.
You know.
I mean, honestly, we want to do super sacks too, and we're still doing bags. Like,
Are you?
yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We still don't have a silo. We still do bags.
Yeah.
What's your
But-
production?
We're gonna hit probably 3,500 barrels this year.
That's a lot of
Nice.
sex.
So it's a lot of freaking sacks.
Yeah.
But, you know, we have some really strong brewers.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
But you do mill your own grain. The only reason I ask is some of the brewers I know who work on a 3-barrel, they have to buy pre-milled, and that limits some flexibility.
Yeah, we mill.
But it sounds like you guys have a mill, which is, I mean, that's the best for quality for sure.
One guess how much the mill cost. Less than $100. Take a guess.
Less than
Really?
$100.
Less
Oh,
than
the
$100.
current
Yeah.
one.
Oh, do you
run it with a
like
drill?
A drill now?
Nope. Throw some
I have
numbers
that.
out. Throw some
All
numbers
right,
out.
$85.
$16.99.
$1.
Well, she's the closest, but I think she already knows. It's $5. It's from the More Bear sales shelf.
Oh wow.
And the one of the rollers had a bar that was out of tune, and I trued it back in, just like a
Okay.
bike wheel.
Oh, that sounds just like you.
But what's the driving force in the motor?
Right.
I've got a little quarter horsepower motor with a belt.
Oh, okay. So
Right.
it's a belt.
Yeah.
Well, thank goodness, because like I've
Does it have like a
very-
string? Is it like a
Timer strip all
lawnmower
the time.
engine that you have to like pull the string? What is happening?
No, the grist.
We have a real one as well. It's just not hooked up yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an RMS mill. The new one is.
We're just giving you a hard time.
I know.
Yeah.
This is actually we're going through the hoops right now. We're
Okay.
just making the magic happen.
Yeah.
This thing really gets it done.
Yeah.
I've got it dialed in, and there is no movement at all. So our
Wow.
wheat, our 2-row, everything is just very consistent.
Yeah.
And I've done that with Gorilla Tape on the screw, so the screw doesn't move.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
I love this.
we're in the trenches, but
Let me tell you something. When I moved into this studio from like my old shitty studios, I had a hard time adapting to it. I didn't like it, this studio, for a while. It was too new and fancy. You might have a little transition period where you mourn the loss of your $5 mill. You know, because now I love my studio now, but I had to get over it. But like, I don't know, there's something about the roots of my old shitty studios,
Right?
you know, that I had them dialed in too. Like, I'm still working out the bugs in this damn thing. So yeah, you might have a little period where you mourn, you know. Maybe not. He's like, nope.
It's like, we'll talk about it.
What hops are in the
Next time.
pills? German hops or?
this is all Saaz.
all Saaz?
Saaz, yeah. We've got a lot of contracts locked in. When I first started making this with the Saaz, there was some shortages.
Okay.
And that's when I realized, okay, I need to be very conservative about what we indulge in on these hop contracts, but we do need some hop contracts to ensure consistency in our core beers.
Sure. Okay.
So there's a lot of our beers that utilize the Saaz, and that's because that's what we've
Because you had to contract it.
We've got a lot
What a
of them.
great one to have a lot of. It's got the nice
Yeah, Saaz
spiciness.
is awesome.
Right?
Like, I wish we used it more.
Yeah. You filter this too, or fine?
This is all fining.
Brilliantly clear.
Yeah, I didn't get to mention that before I drank the whole thing. But
We got to drink the pale ale too.
Yes, the clarity,
Yeah.
spectacular.
It's really, if I was on the judging sheet, one of the things you'd say is brilliantly clear.
Thank you so much.
Do you also like do a full 6-week lager too?
We used to.
Okay.
And in all honesty, we started running into problems. We started having issues with, we're running out of beer and we can't make enough beer.
Sure.
This also kind of touches on a little formula in the industry. When we first started, And I know you asked us earlier about how we got started and where we got going, and we started talking about the tap room.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to get started, we had to come up with some location, and we were just running into roadblocks everywhere we went.
Okay.
It's either too close to a school, too close to a church,
It's always something.
too expensive.
Yeah.
We looked
Too
at the
close to a church. That's a
right.
thing?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know that one. That's funny.
We looked at the requirements and realized that you could open up a brewery in a detached back garage.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there at my parents' house, and I'm like, no way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just no way. And I threw it their way, and they said, if the city says it's okay, it's okay with
No
us."
kidding. Wow.
So I went down to the city, and I said, hey, here's all these papers. It's a long shot. I mean, you probably got, I don't know.
Yeah.
They said, no, hey, we're really happy to have you. Stamp, stamp, stamp.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, get the hell out of here.
So that was the first brewery?
So we're a nano commercial residential brewery. We're like, there's like 6 of us in the state.
So you are right
you
now
still
still.
there?
Yeah.
Oh, so the
we have
brewery
this
is,
brew build equipment.
but the brewery's not at the tasting room.
Correct.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we didn't realize that.
Yeah.
We-
So once
We didn't
that's-
put that together.
We'll be able to like almost quadruple
Yeah.
with Mark's setup of the equipment we bought, but that's why it's like having the full-time jobs, having the brewery,
Right.
because he's the brewer, I do the marketing,
Yeah.
everything else. Like it's a lot on that little system to keep.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Did you-
when did you last sleep?
It's
I
been
just
a
want to
while.
know that.
I'd say,
It sounds like it's been a while.
2016.
Let's sleep.
Yeah.
Let me ask a more serious question. When's the last time and I mean that, like last time you slept more than about 4 or 5 hours in a night?
Oh God.
You guys sleep, you have short nights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah.
look really good for
You do.
being
Well, we
that
had a lot
tired.
going on.
Okay.
She
Keeping you-
forces
keeping you
me.
active.
She forces me to go to bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock. And,
Okay.
and I
Not like
think
go to sleep, but I force you to like start winding down.
That makes sense.
I need
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I need
I
that.
do too. I can't just like go to bed and.
She saved my life.
Oh, look at that. That's why she's your life partner, bro.
Life partner.
I think I hear a new beer name coming out.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
What are your day jobs? Can I ask that?
I'm the GM of a winery.
Of a winery.
Yeah, so I've worked in wine
Oh.
for 16 years.
Okay.
And the folks that I work for are probably tuned in right now. They're awesome. They live in Texas. The winery's called Italics Wine Growers.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I've just been on kind of like the managing side of, like my title is Director of Operations, but
Well, I like that it's in the industry.
for sure.
I'm
And
allowed to call the wine industry the same,
Absolutely.
right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not one of these wine snobs or.
I
you
feel
know,
like I
beer snobs.
applied a lot of my knowledge
Heck yeah.
to Mark's when we first met, and he was talking to me about the brewery, and I was like, well, like I know this, and this, and it's pretty similar to what you got going on. It's the same license in essence, right?
Yeah.
Especially for sales too.
Yeah.
And so I would always throw ideas his way when we first met, and some of them stuck, and
Heck
some
yeah.
of them didn't. But
Hey, that's
Yeah.
well, that's business.
it's
that's,
a cool
That's
industry.
not your
Beer,
fault.
wine, all of it. Super
Absolutely,
fun.
yeah.
Super fun.
Okay. And where's the winery?
So it's
now?
in Napa.
It is in Napa. Okay. So you got to commute to Napa too.
So I did.
That's not too bad
the
from
property
Benicia.
just sold,
okay.
which is cool, and the owners worked with me on this kind of neat transitionary period where for the next like 1 to 2 years, I'm going to work with them to help sell the remaining inventory, but it gives me the flexibility to kind of start thinking about like, do I want to work for Brew Hole full time?
Right.
Do I want to do something else?
Yeah.
But I have this, kind of, I get to keep my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Mark? What's your day job? I kind of wanted you to give me like a multiple choice. Like if
Oh, this is a great one. You should
I
ask.
want
for
to
this.
pick like
Yeah.
like give me three like
Yeah.
2 of them are
Three
fake and one of them
possibilities.
and one's real.
You-
And I think I think I can nail it. Can you think of 3? It just
I lead people on ghost tours.
fuck. Okay.
Specialist with the ghosts.
Yeah.
I mint money.
Okay.
I'm a DNA forensic technician for global law enforcement agencies.
You're a DNA forensic technician. 100%. You
I'm
are.
gonna go with A and B.
And his other free time, he's on
The other 30
ghost
minutes a day.
tours.
I don't read people all that well. Admittedly.
Right. You're 100% a DNA forensic investigator.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how I got into that. I started doing
Really?
IT administration for 20 years. But my background in school was networking technology and digital electronics.
Okay.
So after 20 years of IT administration. I'm at this company that's making rapid DNA instruments with really no growth for their IT department. I started working in the labs, working on the instruments. So I learned the instruments, and having the IT background, they later saw a desire to have me take on a different role. I left the company to go take care of Brew Hole and deliver beer.
Okay.
They called me in one day to bring them some of our 5W30, which is a very light black ale.
Okay.
And the CEO pulls me into his office. He said, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse.
Nice.
I need you to take this specialist role supporting the rapid DNA instruments in these different crime labs and the different law enforcement agencies and their networks. And you need to log in and understand what their environment is like at the drop of a hat.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. And the numbers, I was like, this is what I've been looking to do, but I've got this brewery that I'm like,
You've got this
Right.
like whole full-time job over here,
Right.
and then another
And it's
full-time
like
job over
nighttime.
here.
Like he'll be like, I got a call at. I got to be on the phone with Singapore at 9 a.m. So he's like counting backwards on his hands, to, like figure out,
Right.
like, it's like 10 o'clock at night our time, and Mark's on the phone all night, and
But it's all remote.
it's all
Yeah.
remote. But
Okay.
some of it's kind of heavy, like
I bet.
awesome.
the border crossing, like
Okay.
familial DNA. He'll be like, man, I had these people, these DNAs came through, and like it's like 3 kids that weren't related to the adult. So like, you know what's going on, or like the thing that collapsed in Florida. Like he worked
Oh gosh. Yeah.
24/7 for like 9 days,
Wow.
and it's heavy on him.
Yeah. Of course. Of course. That's why he drinks.
I forgot, and
Him and me both. And I don't even have as good of an excuse.
I forgot, and I have to be respectful of some of the company's wishes, but we can't really share too many of the stories and
That's okay, yeah.
what they do. But what I can say is that the rapid DNA technology is making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
It's allowing law enforcement agencies to set up webs at all their crime labs in the lower states. And process people rapidly in less than 90 minutes. They have a DNA profile, so before somebody is released onto the streets, they know that they are actually tied to the murder or the rape. The Rapid Link software has a match, familial, kinship, and a staff elimination database too. So it's
Okay.
It's so cool.
Yeah. Wow.
It's so cool.
That's amazing. And I'm not surprised one bit. And I can tell you really care about it. So, which then in turn means I can tell you care about your other project too, your beer, right? Like you just, yeah.
I
Doesn't
love
sound
beer.
like you get into much of anything unless you're pretty passionate about it. So, Well, okay, I got to get us to a break. So I don't want to talk about this pale ale yet because I just took a sip and it's delicious. And I want to not cut us off on it. So I'm going to do this. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more with Mark and Natalie, and we're going to taste the pale ale. We've got several other beers to try. You can come on down here to the Hop Grenade and try it yourself. We'll have the 2 beers we have on tap here for at least a couple of days, unless we drink all the West Coast IPA tonight. Could happen. All right, hang in there. You're listening to the session, and we will be right back.
no.
I was on very technical and I just had my little box that I knew about long use of the
I never thought things would go that way. In fact, I try to leave and go do this with Italy. things about the journey that we can't talk about right now, where even though we've got all this equipment, no one knows that we're trying to buy it. But this equipment won't.
Don't feel like you have to talk about anything.
We're trying to hide this kind of creepy, crazy thing and just try to get away from the cost.
That's totally fine.
We realized this past year in negotiations on the lease agreement. Yeah. No, it's not her. He does it with all of his tenants.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We are still speaking with Brew. Am I even saying it right? Brew Hole? Brew Hall?
Brew Hole. Brewing in a hole in the wall.
I just okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought so. That's why I didn't ask ahead of time.
Imagine,
also, I'm lazy.
home brewers are brewing in a hole in the wall.
Yeah, okay.
We're in a back garage brewing in a hole in the wall.
And you have a German background, right? Looking at your site, and then I did have your beer at Springfest. You're not exclusively German, but you have like a German style background, right?
Yeah, das ist gut.
Yeah, das ist gut.
The family originated from Austria. We all thought for years that it was from Germany, but it was actually from Austria.
Okay, that's the same difference. Whatever.
Landed in Michigan, and Grandma and Grandpa started as workers on the Keller farm.
Okay.
And Keller, cellar master. It fit perfectly.
Yeah.
His life.
I hope you make a mean Keller. He's Mark Keller, by the way, folks. I hope you make a mean Keller beer.
Not yet, but it's coming.
You're waiting for that one.
It's coming.
Okay. Let's talk about this pale ale in our glass. I want to make sure we get through enough beers. This is a nice one. A little more, to me, on the English pale ale side, although it's plenty hop forward. What do you think about this beer? Tell us about it.
I originally started with a 60-minute Magnum bittering, and then eventually I noticed that Citra all the way through actually complemented it much better.
Okay.
I would dry hop sometimes with Centennial in the early days.
Okay.
There was some really floral bags that I had, and it really contributed a nice touch to it. But inconsistencies in the Centennial, I ended up sticking with Citra all the way through. Okay. We had locked in some great contracts. The 2-row was originally Great Western, and I've switched to Viking. More beer has really worked with us, and we really have appreciated that a lot. And a little white wheat to give it a little softness.
Okay.
A little Munich too, a little color.
Oh yeah. A little biscuity in there.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, I steered away from Crystal 20 down to Crystal 15.
I like you for that.
I don't like Crystal.
Well,
I love using like Munich malt to bring up the maltiness instead of Crystal, like maltiness without sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
that's the way I think of it.
But the color you would get from the Crystal too, because it's got that like redder kind of pale ale color, like a Sierra Nevada pale ale kind of red.
You didn't abandon malt completely, which is kind of the direction a lot of us are going, like myself included on some beers. Like we're just like Crystal is the enemy. You don't want any maltiness, but a pale ale really needs some malt backbone to be correct. And
we've had some brewers on here recently who have, to my surprise, been going back to Crystal, like saying, again, not like a higher, was it Lava Bond, and a giant amount of it, but kind of saying, no, my pale ale isn't good with zero Crystal, things like that, and IPA too, So, and this one's, and you said it's all Citra all the way throughout?
All the way through.
All the way through. Okay. And of course, dry hopped as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you? So 3-barrel system, and then we should probably talk about this more when we taste your West Coast IPA. But when you dry hop a West Coast IPA, what are we getting out of that? What's your volume out of that batch?
That was tough.
Yeah, I bet.
Even after scrubbing it with CO2 to try and get and I scrubbed it aggressively. My goal was to get all of the hops that might be resting near the top to break up, to drop down. It's easily more achievable in a anything bigger than a 3-barrel, even a 7, a 10.
Okay.
Oh, you think the hops like sit on the top in a 3-barrel? Is that what you're saying?
Well, even later, yeah.
Oh,
there's
like the geometry doesn't lend itself to the hops incorporating.
Exactly.
Oh,
I know some are falling in and starting to disperse as they fall down to the cone, but I know that there's some still hanging out. It's nice. A 3-barrel is actually, it's like a homebrewer's advanced lab.
Yeah.
I can still open up the top, after charging it, and there's a bed of CO2 on top, and I can easily just peek in.
Yeah.
After purging the CO2, and I can see what's going on in there. I can see how high the krausen has come up. If that yeast is, if I can top crop it with an external container. And that's kind of helped me learn about the aggressiveness of some of the different yeast strains.
Sure. How many times a week are you brewing with a 3-barrel system?
It's hard. I have a day job.
Yeah.
And I have to respect that I've got to be doing my normal work. I am now the sole global rapid DNA expert. As many times as we've coordinated and trained other people, there's just it's a transition right now.
Wow.
And so I'm part of a bigger spectrum of a global transition and integration with Thermo Fisher.
Okay.
So that means that I get home, I mill, I prep everything that I need to do, and I can be doing my day job, and I can answer questions from my dad. My dad is actually my mentor and in this brewing adventure.
Yeah.
He's got me started, and so this is a really great opportunity to kind of connect with him and teach him some things that he didn't know about before.
So he's helping you out on the brew side.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
He's our best unpaid employee.
Got it. Yeah.
Number one.
We all need one.
Yep.
Weekends, I get in there and really do some of the more, and this is something we can touch on too throughout the evening. Some more advanced beers, like these bourbon barrel-aged beers, the German chocolate cake, the coffee stout that we did with a local coffee roaster, and with barrels from Italics. When Italics had spent Chardonnay barrels, and their red wine barrels.
Yeah.
We were given an opportunity to utilize those barrels for future projects.
Nice.
And so,
Okay, but you still haven't told me how many days a
you're
week you got to
deviating.
brew.
Oh,
That's what I want. Because I'm thinking about a 3-barrel system, and you're open a lot of days a week. You said Wednesday
have a
through
full
Sunday,
staff.
right? Well, right, but you got to move. So your whatever volume of beer. I feel like it sounds to me like you're brewing 5 days a week.
It's scary as shit. Like, we'll look at our beer pours on like a Saturday and Sunday and be like, oh God.
How is there enough beer?
she'll tell me, "Hey, we're doing this well," and I'm like, "Oh no." And she's like, "What do you mean, oh no?" I'm all, "I gotta make
More beer.
Yeah, gonna run out of
Yes.
beer.
So we
5 days a week.
This is actually This is where we have had to coordinate with local breweries.
Okay.
We have, growing up in the region, really connected with all of our local breweries. So Napa Smith, Jamil at Heretic, Jason Ledford at True Symmetry, Luis Castro
At Del Cielo.
Del Cielo.
Aaron and Holly.
Aaron Holly Bryan at Epidemic Ales.
Yep. So you're doing some contract brewing with all these guys.
Yeah.
Or as Sully used to like to call it, partner brewing.
Partner brewing.
Yeah.
This is actually a little bit more. This is where you start to see your colleagues in the industry actually open up their homes to you.
Yeah, they've been great to us.
I consider what we've experienced with Epidemic Ales and Brian and Holly and Aaron to be a family.
Nice. Yeah.
They have opened up their home to us
Awesome.
and allowed us to establish an alternating proprietorship and contract brewing
Okay.
with
I
them.
thought maybe you meant you're like brewing in their bathtub now or something like prison style.
No, but you
mean
know,
you have an
right?
alternating proprietorship. That's very nice. Yeah,
But
that
we
is a
scratch
nice
each
thing
other's
to do.
backs. Like if they,
Yeah.
because they've grown so incredibly and are doing so well that, there's times where they need some storage.
Right.
We have it.
Got
and
it.
So, it's like, but then there's times where we need help with something, and
Oh, that's great.
it's a great partnership with them.
Okay.
Teresa, this industry, we're like a brotherhood, a sisterhood, a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do they have? Like a 15 barrel there at Epidemic? I forget.
A 10 and
They
growing.
have a 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Because they have a good space to grow in. So,
Sean?
Yeah.
Their beers are. So
Sean's
good.
great.
Sean is incredible.
Sean's a sweetheart too.
Nick, their assistant.
He's here.
He's here.
Oh yeah,
There's
nice.
Super, yeah.
Right?
Nice. Yeah.
Vito.
Yeah.
Vito, I've leaned on Vito so many times.
Vito's
Hey,
the guy.
I've
Vito, it turns out, knows everything. I didn't know that about Vito.
He
but
knows everything, everybody.
everything. Yeah.
Such a great guy.
We're doing another show tomorrow that Vito's gonna be on.
Oh, he is.
Because he advised me and Chris Graham on our Dortmunder that we brewed for HomebrewCon.
Ooh.
Chris Graham and I have never entered. We've been going to that event. Used to be called NHC, but now it's HomebrewCon. For over 15 years. He's been going for like 20. I'm going on like 18.
Wow.
And we've never entered a beer, so we're entering our first homebrew ever. And anyway, Vito came and assisted us on that too. And yeah, Vito just knows everything. He's a
Yeah.
nice guy. So
Dortmunder or Dortmunder Export?
I don't know. Tasty's Dortmunder recipe is what we brewed. So our friend Tasty had won a silver medal with his Dortmunder, and I asked Chris Graham. Chris Graham and I, it's weird to say, and you're going to hear about it more in tomorrow's show. We're just getting back into homebrew. It's certainly weird to say for him. He's obviously into homebrew. He's only gotten back into like brewing at home.
Yeah.
And as I've been talking to him and hanging out with him more, I'm like, gosh, brewing sounds fun again. So I asked him, I said, hey, I know that you've never entered this competition, and neither have I. What do you think we brew a beer? And he just loved the idea and asked me what I want to brew. And I just remembered this beer that Tasty used to bring in. I'm talking years ago. I hadn't had Tasty's Dortmunder in years. But in the early days, him and Doc would both bring in this Dortmunder, and it's probably the first one I ever had. I didn't even have a real one before that. And I was like, what is this beer? It's fantastic. And so his son Lee had access to all of Tasty's old recipes, and he brought it to us, and we brewed it.
That's so cool.
We're going to taste it tomorrow on the show, and then it's already been shipped off to the competition, and I kind of want to win. I'm kind of feeling good. I mean, I haven't even really tasted it yet, but I kind of want to win.
I really hope you do. It'll
I
be
do
like
too.
Santa Claus getting a present.
Right?
Tasty's
I'm probably-
looking down.
I will probably cry like a baby if we win any kind of medal with that beer.
That's
Yeah.
so cool.
But I'm also just kind of excited to participate. I've been streaming the awards for over a decade, right? Since the second year of the Brewing Network, so since 2006. But I've never participated in them. So I just thought it'd be cool to have a beer, have something in the running, you know what I mean?
For
That's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
But anyhow, Vito was instrumental in helping us decide what to do with water and things like that because guy knows it all. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got help then. I didn't know about the alternating proprietorship. That's a smart move. I think another thing that Jamil toyed with and used to give good advice about with other breweries when he was looking to do things. So, okay. All right, we got to move through beers too. So I've got your Saison, and so we've got one for you too. I had our staff here pour us your Saison, and I know you wanted to talk about that. What's this beer called?
This is the simple Saison.
Okay.
So we try and name everything about something either personally relevant or historically relevant to the town because we both were raised in Benicia.
Okay.
And so all of our beers, for the most part, are named after something that is, if you live there, if you travel through there, you know. And so Semple was one of the original founders of Benicia, and it's also
SEM.
SEMPLE.
Yep,
It's
okay.
the elementary school that I went to, Robert Semple. It's next door to where we live.
Okay.
So this is the Semple. It's a farmhouse. Mark's the brewer, so he knows the.
So you're like born and raised Benicia.
Yeah,
I'm
you
actually
guys-
born
you
in
guys are
Germany. I
actually-
wanted to include that earlier when we
Oh,
were talking
wow.
about Germany. I am
No
I'm
kidding.
the German.
You're the German. He's
Deutsch.
just a lowly Austrian.
I know.
Born in Cologne.
I was born in Cologne.
Okay.
I wish we could have named our Kolsch the Cologne Kolsch because like I'm
Right.
the Cologne baby, but
Yeah.
it was already named.
You look like a Cologne baby. You're very German.
But we both were like kindergarten through high school. Well, for me, Mark
Benicia,
was a couple
okay.
years later in Benicia, yeah. But we're
Oh, that's
a few
awesome.
years apart.
Okay. So Semple's one of the founders of Benicia, you're saying?
He
Like
was
founding.
yeah, he's definitely in the founding. Yeah, there's like names Larkin,
okay.
Turner.
So you're saying you guys try to name all your beers with some
All
sort
of
of reference to either your Germanic background or Benicia? Is that about?
Or like just personal. So like Mark's
Okay.
wearing the Into the Woods shirt, which is named. My cousin was really into like hoppy beers, and his name was Woods, and I thought that was a cool name.
Andrew Woods, yeah.
Into the Redwoods. Yeah, Into the Woods. It was Redwood Farms. Skyprocopia was where we got the hops for that.
Oh.
Seasonal. The Lazy Days later were named after my dad's boat.
What happened to your cousin? Can I ask?
He had a glioblastoma.
Oh man.
He passed away at 52 on my birthday, or the day before my birthday.
Okay.
In 2017, and I met Mark like 6 days later.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that
Oh, I'm
crazy?
sorry to hear that. It's
Yeah.
nice to do a tribute like that. It's a nice
Totally.
thing to be able to, like brewing beer, I think, I've gotten to do this for Tasty in different ways. Not brew
Mm-hmm.
beer, but like beer is like an avenue, I don't know, for all sorts of ways to tribute in life and friends and like
And
it's,
I love seeing people wear like that shirt.
yeah, that's
you
a cool
know,
shirt.
like,
I'll put it back on the camera
I love
too.
people like there's people here wearing it tonight, like, and I love seeing
Nice.
his name. And I'm gonna do something for my dad too with the Lazy Days. We just haven't. It's
Have-
so new.
Have you guys heard of the Stash Strong beer? It's actually a benefit for glioblastoma.
Really?
Because
Okay.
we lost one of our brewery friends actually too, and so we're planning to do it. We're just trying to get it on the calendar right now, but
Oh.
Nice.
it's might be something you want to look into.
What beer is that?
It's a like a collaboration for a benefit beer. It's called Stash Strong.
Is it like Lady
Okay.
Boots, Lady Bot, or the Pink Boots where you have to buy
It's
the hop?
similar, but you don't have to buy anything. You just pledge a portion of the proceeds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So earlier we had the Old Capitol Pilsner,
Yeah.
right? So Benicia was the original state capital of California.
Oh, that's right. I was just to mess that up because I thought it was Martinez, but it was Benicia, wasn't it?
Benicia was one of the first. I don't know if I don't remember. We were like 1894
Yeah.
to 1898 or something like that.
Okay.
So Benicia, so we have the old Capitol building on First Street. So we have that, and then the Maritime is named after the Maritime College right there, Maritime Pale Ale, and then now we're having the Simple Saison.
Nice. All right. So tell us about the Saison then, Mark.
So actually, this is one that I wasn't really planning on doing again because we have 40, 50 different beers that we try to rotate, and there's a really core number of those that we need to keep brewing regularly. But Natalie Italics had two beautiful punch-in barrels
Okay.
with amazing stainless steel tasting ports and bottom drain stainless steel valves. I mean, these were so beautiful. They need to continue on in their journey in this brewing world.
And they were throwing them away
you know
or
what a
getting rid of
punch-in
them?
is?
No.
So it's a 500-liter French oak barrel.
Oh.
It's huge.
Like a fooder.
It's huge, but it's
Very similar,
But
yeah.
it's like
it's shaped
yeah,
differently.
it's shaped.
It's not oval. It's round. It's a full-on. You take the barrel head off. It's,
I see.
yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So I knew
Nice.
right then, I gotta call Vito.
Yeah.
That's the guy that knows all the fruit forward saisons. I gotta reach out to him, and I hit him up. I'm like, Vito, hey, do I do Belgian, French? He's like, go French. You're gonna get a little bit more pizzazz.
The French yeast we're talking here.
Exactly.
Okay,
The French
yeah.
saison.
Yeah.
Give you a little bit more forgiveness in the flavor profiles. You're blending it with a Chardonnay barrel. And then if later on down the road you choose to add any fruit to it, you've got some forgiveness too with that French saison yeast,
I see.
right?
So
Yeah.
you fermented in the barrel, or
Yeah.
the punch-in?
So I do a primary fermentation
Okay.
in the fermenter.
Yep.
And then right off the bottom with the yeast too, I first actually take the yeast on the bottom, pump it over to the next saison batch.
Okay.
Because we're 3 barrels, so we're actually pulling maybe 93 to 95 gallons. So it's barely enough to fill up the first barrel.
Okay.
So I had to do 2 back-to-back, get the yeast off, cold crash the first one, and sit on it while we got the second one going. And then pump it over to the barrel, start filling it up. And these bungs that are on top are really unique. They are they sit on top of a stainless steel threaded fitting. So above your barrel, imagine being able to have a looking glass into your beer, and it's actually a bubbling cap, a specialized wine bubbling cap. I put a little sanitizer in there, and then it continues to ferment over the next 6 to 10 months.
Okay.
And it holds like a good 2 liters. I mean, it's a decent size.
If it gets low, I'll just wait till it gets below the bottom of the threads. I'll sanitize the rubber bung, unscrew it, plug it, and then sanitize, clean it, get it nice and neat and clean, and then screw it back on, new sanitizer, and fill from the bottom.
Interesting.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
So how long is this? How long was this in progress?
This is actually 4 months, and this is actually young. But we wanted to get it out in the hot summer days. But in August, we'll release the 6 month. I'm gonna actually pull it at 6 month. 6
So
months.
you're gonna pull it all. You're not gonna
I'll pull.
Solera it or something. You know.
We'll pull. So if the next batch has 90 gallons, I will pull 90 gallons so that the 90 gallons that I have will fill it up. I have to be really consistent with making sure that the barrel always has beer in it so that the staves don't dry out.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
But we've also just recently picked up some more barrels. So we've got more punch-ins. These are 600 liters, and they're red wine barrels. So this is actually going to be the start of a new project that we're going to call Natalie Natalambic.
Natalambic.
Nice.
Ooh, I mean, obviously I'm German and I have family in Belgium. I love lambics.
Okay. Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Can do no wrong.
Lambics are fantastic.
Huge fan.
All of this is at the detached garage brew house.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
I'm gonna send you
picture.
a picture of it.
How big is this garage?
500 square feet.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So like a garage.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta send me a picture. I can put it in the show notes
Totally.
too, so
It's,
people can see.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But the access to the barrels from Italics was really a cool thing because the owners, when they decided to sell the property, there was all this things that they needed to get rid of, and so they've been so good to us and so good to me with needing time, and that there was this opportunity to get the barrels, and I was like, Mark, do you want these? Do you want to buy these? And it just it worked, and it's something that we can expand our portfolio with, which is
right,
because those things new are several $1,000s. That's super counterproductive for us.
Sure. No, that's an amazing opportunity, and of course, depending, like, whatever the size your brew house is, fermenter space is really the limiting factor.
Yeah.
So if you've got these things to do,
Extra,
yeah. Although I will say you're a little crazy to jump into the lambic project at this stage, but
It's
maybe
crazy.
you guys are already crazy anyway.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we're crazy anyway.
Certifiable. No, it's are you going to try to collect yeast from the environment to do these? No,
No.
you have a plan.
I'm actually gonna.
I'm with you. I would, like, if I did a lambic style, which I'm not sure I would be like a control
It
freak,
has to
and
be
I would
isolated, for sure.
I'm actually
choose
gonna
the strains
ferment
I
it.
would create it with.
I'm gonna ferment it with, maybe a very controllable yeast strain, not a bug.
Yeah.
And then after I can figure out a location that is separate from everything else, because I really understand the volatility of the bugs. Really need to get it separate and keep it separate.
Yeah.
We'll pump it over to wherever this is going to be.
Well, and that's a natural thing to do that with, an oak barrel that you can separate from everything, and it's just a one-stop shop for that bug. It's not going to get back in your brew system. Yeah, all about it.
Good idea.
The barrels are beautiful, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you're gonna have to send me all kinds
I
of
will.
pictures.
I'll send you some pictures.
Yeah,
of this for sure.
let's see this.
I'm just realizing I need to make friends with Matt Brindleson, and I also need to make better friends with wineries.
Yeah.
All right,
So
I'm
I
being
guess
shown.
somebody
I'm going
needs
to
to
put
do
it
that.
on my camera. I'm being shown something by Mark right now. What are we looking at right
So
now?
what you're looking at is a BCS 460, BCS 462 brewing control system. It was originally sold by Brewers Hardware. There's some local brewers that use this for trying to automate their local brewery system. We've utilized this to automate our fermentation control system. And I have two loops. 3 fermenters are in one loop with a Perlick 4410 line chiller. And it is actually was never thought possible, but a Perlick 4410 line chiller was meant for cooling a long 210-foot run between your walk-in cooler and your taps.
I see.
But we've used a first in, last out loop with the pressure controls that you would in a commercial fermentation system.
Okay.
To actually, we're running it from this little black box.
I see.
This allows us to do all of our day job stuff and not have to worry about running back home. Is the beer going to be okay? I can log in on my lunch break and look and go.
Check it. But it's glycol. It's a glycol chiller.
Glycol
It's just
loop,
meant for something else. I see.
Exactly.
Controlled by a beer nerd.
Yeah, right. Yeah, which is what you need.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
building rapid DNA instruments. And
This is not. You're like, that is easy.
In the grand scheme of things,
Right.
we got this.
All this, every other brewer is like, God, how am I going to do this? And you're like, that easy thing? I'll do it for you.
But he'll be at home and he'll be like, "Oh man, this is temperatures at this," and I'm like, "That's a foreign language to me. I don't know what that means."
Right. Yeah.
What
yeah.
is that?
But you know, what temperature did you ferment the saison at?
That's 68, 70.
Okay.
And I actually got a little hot, 70, 72, just so I could start finishing it out. And the barrels,
It's got some nice esters coming out. It's on the estery side of a saison, right? You didn't go mild and mellow. You wanted a full on saison.
I want the
Yeah.
environment to just do its magic.
Yeah.
Something unique, and it's going to be unique because of the environment that we're working in. It's just different than everything else out there.
Yeah. It's very good.
The malt bill, you've got Pilsner, you've got Vienna malts. And that's, what do we got? 84% Pilsner, 3.8% Vienna,
Okay.
3% wheat, 3% Caramunic 3.
So, okay. I thought that isn't a traditional saison mostly wheat malt and not like you kind of went the opposite. I thought a traditional saison is a ton of wheat, but then the other ones rounded out where you did the opposite. Do I have that wrong?
Some can be,
Okay.
yes, but I really wanted a low wheat profile in there.
Yeah.
Really low, and that's one of the fun aspects of a farmhouse, is that the farmers in Belgium and South France were really just utilizing the ingredients that they had available.
Whatever the hell was around and left, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And no, you're right about that. That's for sure. Yeah.
But-
And by the way, I'm not the biggest wheat fan, so I'm certainly not poo-pooing this. I just wanted to make sure I always thought that it was generally a wheat beer. But you said only 3%. Yeah.
Really, really low.
Yeah. And what was the 80%?
The Pilsner.
Pilsner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Viking? Pils?
All of this is Viking.
all Viking, yeah.
Except for the Caramunic. The Caramunic 3 is Wireman.
Okay.
In the Munich, there's Munich. That Munich is Munich Light
Okay.
from Viking.
Got it.
Because we've switched over to a lot of Viking malts.
Yeah. It's good malt.
No, you know what?
I think it's all in our Dortmunder too.
More beer has been so good to us over the years.
Yeah.
Growing up, there was no place where homebrewers could get supplies.
Yeah.
For their homebrew beers, and then all of a sudden one day, there was a little shop in Concord.
Right.
More beer.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't, and it's
Thank
not
you,
because they're
Chris.
sponsored. They're like my friends too. I can't say enough good things about them. My bromance with them has only grown. Like over the years, like you'd think that they'd be sick of me by now. They're not. They're just too nice for that.
Yeah,
even.
those guys are the coolest.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm pragmatic as hell, and I order a ton of stuff from them because their website's super easy. It works, and they ship the stuff that day or the next day. Usually
Yeah.
get it in one day.
Yep.
I mean,
Right.
it's like killer.
Yeah.
And they reach
Super
out. They
easy.
communicate. Great communication.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
they're good folks.
All right, let me do this because this is my mistake. I got to take another quick break. We're gonna take a fast one because I forgot to get us other beer.
It's the Saison. It runs right through
The
you.
Saison. I'm like, that's so good. Well, we got to get the West Coast IPA that you've just released, and then we've still got a couple cans to taste too. So I'm gonna get us some more beer and some glassware. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Session with Bruehol Benicia Brewing. We'll be right back.
This is so much fun.
Back what you wanted to say, you know it wouldn't matter anyway. Oh no, and you try to work your way back in to see my life. Blondie, don't you believe everything you read in the newspaper or on the TV screen? 'Cause when the time comes for you to go, will you know which side you will be fighting for? Take back what you wanted to say. You know it wouldn't matter anyway. Oh no, I'll try to work my way back in to see those eyes. Blondie, don't you believe everything you read in the newspaper or on the TV screen? 'Cause when the time comes for you to go, will you know which side you will be fighting for? Blondie, don't you believe everything you read in the newspaper or on the TV screen? 'Cause when the time comes for you to go, will you know which side you will be fighting for?
Okay, welcome back to the show. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're still speaking with Bruehol Benicia Brewing. What's the website that people can go to check things out? Brewholbrewing.com. Go check it out there. You can get information about the tasting room and the beer and how to get to it and all of that.
Food truck lineup.
All right. Food truck lineup too. Nice. As long as you're still allowed to do it. I like that. Okay. I want to make sure we get through more beer.
Yeah.
So we've got your West Coast IPA in our glass right now, one that you just released today, right?
Today, here.
We're the first.
You're the first.
And it's a month because you're not even open till Wednesday, so it'll be
Yes.
here and it'll be here on for another couple days, and then Wednesday, I assume at the
Yes.
tasting room, Natalie.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Which one? What's the beer called?
Lazy Days.
Lazy Days. Oh, and Natalie, this is the one that was named after your dad's boat.
Yes.
Move that microphone real close
Oh,
to you.
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That-
So named after my dad's boat. My dad just passed away, and this was his favorite. He loved nothing more than a cold beer on the back of his boat.
Nice.
And so when we were talking about needing to fill that kind of component in our portfolio of the person that loves Sierra Nevada and wants to have a light IPA but doesn't want to go to New England, this is where Mark decided to create this. He worked on the profile for it. I worked on the name. So here we have Lazy Days.
Yeah.
In honor of my dad.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I do love a good like beer in honor of. Okay, so then let's just go straight with hops on this one. We've been talking a lot of malt. We can certainly go back to malt, but what hops did you put in this one? And were they Natalie's dad's favorite hops? I'm curious.
I will preface
or
this
were
with-
they what you had available?
My father loved anything Mark did.
Okay.
He, walked, he could do no wrong.
Oh, that's
in my
nice.
dad's eyes. Yes. So
Wow.
he was so pumped to be a part of the brewery. So,
That's such a good
yeah.
quality in a life partner, Dad.
Dad, right? Dad knew he was that you were
Dad
life
loved
partner.
Mark Keller.
Oh, I like that.
What are your intentions with my daughter?
Yeah, well, got to ask that
After you
question.
got past that question.
Well, and clearly you got the answer right after that.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
This one's all based off of Mosaic and Simcoe. All of the beers we do, our First Street Fog is all Citra and Amarillo.
Okay.
Our Veterans Day blend, what is it, Arsenal?
We're talking about this one.
I know. So
Give
we
you the
wanted
background first.
we wanted to touch on a beer that utilized some of the hops that we don't normally use.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's Simcoe and Mosaic.
Nice.
So we've got. I love first wort hopping. I don't think we do it enough, right? Every year when we do our fresh wet hop IPAs,
Yeah.
I always throw in at least 20 pounds
In the first word.
in the first wort. And those are really, really big beers. So this one, for the first wort hop for a 100-gallon batch, 110-gallon batch,
Yeah.
we have 2 ounces of Mosaic and 2 ounces of Simcoe.
Okay.
So, and those both contributed 4 IBUs each. And then we jumped into our 60-minute with 5 ounces of Mosaic and 5 ounces of Simcoe.
Mm-hmm.
Just really kept it really balanced the whole way through. 45 minutes, again, 4.5 ounces of Mosaic and Simcoe.
You're hopping all the way through.
All the way
Yeah.
through.
Look at you go.
It's so old school. I just
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Right?
And then we skip to 10 and 5 minutes, both the same additions, 5 ounces and 5 ounces.
Okay.
And then we jump into our whirlpool where we're hitting it with 8 ounces of Mosaic, 8 ounces of Simcoe.
Mm-hmm.
And then you won't see anything more until 3 days where we hit it with 96 ounces.
Then you dry out. I love the jump. That's amazing. We just went from 8 to 96.
Well, he's talking boil hops. Like if you put that amount of boil hops in.
No, his whirlpool hops too were
Yeah,
only
but-
8 and then jumped to 96.
So you have to, with whirlpool hops, you always have to consider your equipment.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like we, on our system, we do max like 11 pounds.
Okay.
We try to do no more than 11 pounds because we have trouble transferring
Knocking
that
out,
out.
okay.
Like we have to like really modify our equipment to do a lot more
I see.
whirlpool hops.
Okay.
So I get that.
You relate. Okay.
Yes.
There's strategies where we'll do an extra long whirlpool and we'll then let it rest for an additional, instead of 20 minutes,
Okay.
I might go 25 minutes just
Okay.
to let that true ball really settle.
Sure. But then, of course, you're also adding IBUs, so it's a trade-off, right?
That's true.
The longer it's in that hot side, you're still...
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some little tricks we use, and that's where when my boil, I might stop at 105 instead of 110 or 115 gallons.
Okay.
And that might give me a little bit of play with the cold water. So add 5 gallons of cold water. So when I start the whirlpool, I know that my gravity is a little high.
Yeah.
I can hit it with another 5 gallons of cold water. balance it out, but also cool it down
Yeah.
to get more of that aromatic utilization in the Whirlpool.
Sure. What kind of chiller are you using on that size system?
You know what?
Like plate? It's a.
Holy moly.
Tell me it's a Therminator. I just want to know.
I
that it's-
wish it. I have an amazing thermaline.
Yeah.
Sitting in my office. This is I couldn't even tell you. It's BIGGEE, which is short for Chinese.
But it's a plate chiller.
Biggie.
It's a big.
That-
Yeah.
Isn't that like
It's
a
not
crane
short for
company?
anything. That's literally Biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
okay.
big.
Yeah.
It is huge. It's an engine block.
They just couldn't spell. They just didn't know how to spell.
We have a
Biggie.
brand new G&D
It's not an acronym.
sitting in the tap room.
Teresa. It's not even an acronym.
It is big. No, I've torn that thing down. I learned in early on when we were having infections.
Okay, yeah.
I tore that thing down 3 times.
Wow.
A nightmare that we never want to experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it ended up being a bad weld on our boil kettle.
Oh shoot.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So it was getting chemicals into it. Those chemicals were transitioning, and this is after 4 batches of beer.
Interesting.
And then for the next 10 batches after that first 4, they were all contaminated.
Oh man.
So we really learned a really big lesson that later on down the road in life would help guide us towards brew built and
Yeah,
making sure that we were buying equipment from a manufacturer that we could talk to, we could reach out to.
Sure.
Or-
But you have the luxury of that. Like, let's talk about that just a little bit. Like, modern brewing can accommodate almost any size. In other words, I'm pretty sure Brew Built wasn't around when I started in 2005.
No.
So people were buying like way big stuff, or just modifying a homebrew system to be whatever they want. So
Right.
I love this passion that you have, and I'm just saying, what a nice like luxury of modern craft brewing that there are actually people out there that can build quality stuff on a nano size.
Yeah.
Because really, it used to be like, well, you better brew on your homebrew system 4 times today to make your 1 3-barrel batch, right?
Yeah.
And so, but then a place like Brew Built comes out. So anyhow,
Yeah.
I'm kind of giving kudos to them
No, they've been
and
great to
the
work with.
industry.
They
So-
made our 5-barrel.
great.
No,
We're
okay.
gonna get that connected here one day.
Nice.
I promise.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really great. And you're right. Even brewers over the years have come in and talked about quality issues with Chinese fermenters and things like that, which they also have grown up. And nowadays people tell me kind of the opposite. Like, hey, no, these fermenters are fine now. Like the industry as a whole, even there as well, has kind of grown up. So yeah, that's interesting to hear that it was a kettle problem after all that.
There's so many amazing things. We can talk shop and the engineering. I'm so fascinated with the engineering. I paid so much attention
Yeah.
to the welding, to the engineering.
But you don't do any of the welding and stuff on yours. If your equipment breaks,
Oh, he
yeah.
will.
Oh,
Of
you
course.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We'll have to talk.
You
Yeah.
Mark is
also
a man
learned
of
how to
many
weld
hobbies.
stainless
Okay.
to
Yeah.
do brewery stuff.
In the last 5 years, I've bought a Miller-Matic 220 with the auto set. I'm
And
learning.
He cut his hand off, and I said, no more.
I've been learning how to do sanitary stainless welding.
Okay.
But this is just a side thing. I reach out to Steve Habco with Habco Welding all the time.
Okay.
I know my limitations, and I'm so sore. I'm so achy all the time from working.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to do.
Okay.
I
So
feel like we need to pinpoint that.
I don't know. Welding's
moment in
next
time
on
right
my
now where
hobby
you just
list.
Said you know your limitations.
See, you want me to?
Yeah.
It's on this recording. Natalie. Don't
you
worry.
can-
I'll
you
cut
can-
out
I
that
need
clip
to,
for
like-
you.
I need
Do you
that.
want me to make
I
it
do.
your message tone from him?
Please.
So that, or it should actually.
It's his message tone for me.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. You're right. That's what
Yeah.
we're gonna do. I will do. I can
Everybody
make that.
heard that.
I can make that happen for
I
you.
didn't make it up.
Well, and I know that brewers bring the intensity, but I'm just going to have to say, like, his voice is so soothing. Like, you could,
Right?
yeah.
So how is he so intense? Because you're like, I don't know. He also seems very zen.
He puts off this chill vibe.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you need to make a zen.
You should have like a
Yeah.
child's brewing book, like an audio book.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were right.
Oh my god.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Or
actually,
for
by
like
his
the
own
real
admission-
beer nerds where he just, I'm not saying you're sleepy, but you could do that voice for us beer nerds to go to bed. Just like describe your beers in that
Like
very
the
soothing.
ASMR.
That's what I mean, yes.
Just read the recipes.
We just invented beer nerd ASMR, Natalie, you and I.
Well, and fitting because he learned to brew as a child.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
Mark was
So-
the kid that like brought kegs to parties and like
Right.
he just is like he's the coolest guy in town. I swear to God.
I love this. All right, we got to try more beer too.
Yes.
Let's go. What did you decide we were going to do now? Teresa decided, I think.
Yes, I made the executive
Ooh, Powder
decision
Magazine.
along with Natalie that Powder Magazine, the Russian Imperial Stout,
Okay.
10% is our next beer.
Powder Magazine.
Powder Magazine.
Again,
Okay.
Benicia related.
What is that? Tell me.
So
oh, wait, wait.
Benicia was being the original Arsenal. We were one of the original. We were the original or one of the original West Coast military arsenals.
Oh, I see. Like stockpile, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's 3 in the United States of these powder magazines, and they're these French-designed, self-imploding buildings that were made to hold black powder.
I see.
Whoa.
And there's 2 in Benicia. One of them is
That are
pretty-
still there.
still there.
Yeah.
One of them is pretty dilapidated, but one of them is cool. We got a tour of it. And so we decided to name this after that because it's neat. You can go into this thing and it's like there's all these, like, I can send you a text with these pictures of these guys signing their names in like 1874. And like
So cool.
measurements on the walls of like how many ounces were per this square foot.
Nice.
Because, I mean, it could go up in flames at any time.
Right.
You should,
Amazing.
like, if you ever can your beer, you need to have beer labels that explain.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
Powder Magazine to me is like a snowboarding.
Oh, I know. Okay, well,
Oh yeah.
periodical.
It's
So we
actually it's real,
created
and it
one.
is. Yeah, or was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We created a
Yeah.
cool, we actually worked on a label for this that was pretty cool because I'll show you after the show these cool walls of all these signatures. And it's just, it's
Oh,
so,
wow.
it's like German prisoners of war that were like kept in California, in Benicia. Like, yeah.
Putting a
It's
little picture for
interesting.
those
It's
of
so
you
cool.
watching on YouTube or Facebook. You can see a little bit.
There was a
Oh.
day we showed up to the Benicia Historical Museum, and Alan H. Gandy was actually there and heard us talking about our passion of local Benicia history and the beers, and offered to walk us out into the field, over the hills and into the field. It was not something that they ever did, but he just happened to be writing this book
Nice.
and took us out, and we had the opportunity to just really ground ourselves with our heritage of Benicia roots,
Yeah.
the history of Benicia, and really inspired us to name this the Powder Keg.
It's a great name, especially it's for a black beer, the black powder,
Yeah.
right? So Russian Imperial Stout, right?
And the barrels are from Mare Island.
Oh,
From
cool.
The distillery there.
Yeah.
So, Savage and Cook.
Okay.
Is the
So
new-
this is barrel aged?
this is barrel aged for 2 years.
2 years.
Oh, really?
Kidding me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Delicious.
And
10% too. you said?
what was the base? I mean, what was the spirit that was in the barrel?
A bourbon.
It was a
Bourbon
bourbon.
barrel aged, yeah.
It's like totally incorporated.
Which, by the way, is the coolest distillery tour in the area if you have not spent
No, I
time
haven't.
going to
I've never
Savage
even
and
heard of
Cook
them.
on Mare Island, yeah.
They
cool.
bought their bourbon barrels and had them shipped out and aged them. It's as we've learned more about the distilling and the distilleries in the United States, there's auctions that come up and you can buy bourbon and age it on property,
Oh, right.
right? And so these different distilleries, every once in a while, even maybe here in California, close to home, like Savage and Cook, will be utilizing that to blend with some of their spirits, and those barrels become available. We thought that was really unique to be able to have some barrels from
Especially
here in our
local like
backyard.
that.
And something
That's
cool
really
like
cool.
Mare Island, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's such a cool thing in our backyard. Like, both growing up in Benicia and, like, we remember being, kids of, like, the 80s and 90s when Mare Island was rocking.
Yeah.
Like, Vallejo was not a little weird, dark, path on the way to Napa. Like,
Right.
it was the place to be.
I see.
And it's not, it's having a resurgence now, and there's some really cool stuff going on
Sure.
on that wet mile with the brewery, Maryland Brewery, and then this Savage and Cook with Dave Finney has invested a lot of money in promoting that, and there's some great restaurants. But for a long time, it was kind of like you didn't go there.
Sure.
But-
Well, and Natalie, I think I heard you before the show started. You're a bourbon girl. You like a glass of bourbon.
Big time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you like it? You just like a bourbon straight?
I'm a Maker's Mark and soda water.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Well,
Called-
soda water
yeah,
too.
Bourbon
Yeah.
and Branch.
Yeah. Is that that's your nightcap beer?
It's like my Instagram handle is
That's your-
Maker's Mark Love.
Oh, it is?
Like I'm old school.
I love it. That's
I'm a
great.
huge fan.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll reach for that before like a beer at the end of the day too? It's okay. You can. No one's going to judge you here.
No, not at all.
Yeah. And half our listeners will do the same
No,
thing.
like I
Yeah.
can walk into any bar, probably in the Tri-County area, and they'd be like, "Your usual," and I'm like,
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
yeah,
Okay.
that's my thing."
This is a delicious RAS, man. 2 years on the barrel.
2 years.
You didn't fuck it up in those 2 years.
No, it's
Right? Like a lot of things could go wrong.
We had nothing else going on except these 2 barrels.
Okay.
It was make it or break it.
No, this is a good
And
beer.
the beer gods were good to us.
I'm pretty sure you gave me a choice of this keg too, didn't you? Did I fuck up and not buy this?
Well, we still have it. You can always
I can
choose this
come back to
later.
you.
Yeah,
This is a
absolutely.
delicious.
No one gets this beer. No one gets this beer. We've kept it in house, so
We could let it slide here though.
we could let 5 gallons slide.
Might need to do that. Teresa, what do you think of this beer?
I really like it.
Right?
And honestly, I feel kind of silly that I couldn't identify it was from a bourbon barrel. It just it's so well rounded. Like it doesn't really have any sharpness.
Yeah.
But I mean, explaining that it's been around for a couple of years.
Right.
Like it also doesn't taste like oxidized and soy saucy.
Right.
So it's
But
it's
it does
well done.
have a ton of chocolate.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
But
like,
not sharp, so I'm curious how much like chocolate malt there was to start, and if that like
I've been
chilled
waiting for you
out
to ask that.
or something.
You know how I am with the 0.8s, and this is another 3.8.
Okay.
So 200 pounds, and we're starting off with 100. I really have learned to utilize my boil kettle from 110 to 115 gallons.
Okay.
By just dialing down the heat on my boil.
Okay.
So I'm able to get 71.9% all Maris Otter. And
Oh,
then
wow. Okay.
7.2% biscuit malt.
Yeah.
And 7.2 Crystal 80, Caramel 80.
Okay.
And then I've got 4.7 of wheat flaked, a little softness in there, a little
Yep.
soft mouthfeel.
Yeah.
And then we hit it with your 3.8 chocolate.
See, I would have thought
so,
more
like,
because
what
it's
Lovabond chocolate,
okay.
like 400,
350.
350.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the roasted barley, we're hitting it with 3.6.
Oh,
See, that's
percent.
that's the 2 years. Like it would have tasted way roasty
Yeah.
at
Okay.
first.
Okay.
I'm betting, right?
Yeah, no
It
doubt.
did. I remember you brought some home.
Every once in a while, like every 6 months, I would bring a little.
Sure. Give it a
little
taste.
snippet
Yeah.
home,
Because
Well,
Teresa's right about the nothing sharp, but that's why I'm also going like, there was a lot of chocolate to start. I think you're right. A lot of roast to start.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the vanilla you pick up from the oak barrel. It's like
right.
it fills in some of those chocolate flavors too.
I see.
And then when like I don't know, there is some magic that happens there. It's like, and we've experienced it. Like you have bourbon and beer, and you taste it, and it's like, oh, there's bourbon and there's beer.
Yeah.
And then eventually it comes together, and like for
It
me,
melds.
I would have pulled this one a little earlier so I got more bourbon.
All right. You want more bourbon?
If I,
Yeah.
if it was my
Yeah.
beer, but like having it come together for this long, it's like,
Yeah.
it's totally, it's the same thing. Like it's all come together really
Mm-hmm.
well.
This is a Mark beer. Mark loves. We were talking Firestone earlier. Like Mark loves.
Oh my gosh.
Old.
Oh.
Firestone's annual.
Oh, their anniversary beer?
We would get the house just so that we could get an Uber back and not have to worry about anything.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
We'd try all of the bourbon barrel-aged beers,
Okay. Yeah.
and we would literally forget the restaurant. We would try all of the beers, grab our
love
care
this.
package.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't even remember sometimes what they were for. They weren't bourbon barrel-aged. Sometimes they were sours.
Yeah.
But I remember one time having a Firestone Walker rare release. It had like banana in it.
Oh yeah. Oh, they've done all sorts, and they keep doing more of it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, they've grown so much, right? But I think now they do even more of that barrel experimentation than they ever did before. Yeah.
So cool. So when he said he wanted to do this, I was like, there's no talking you out of it.
No, but you know what? I'm glad you didn't, because this is
great beer.
Yeah.
And it brings in someone unique to the tap room that you can't really. There's not a lot of these in the area.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
No.
someone that comes in that's looking for this,
You're right.
we've got them covered.
Well, and this, let's just say, is kind of a luxury of being your size brew system, because you're right. A lot of bigger breweries now, they're like, I bet they want to brew a Russian Imperial Stout.
Yeah.
But it's hard to sell 30 barrels of Russian Imperial Stout if you're not because it's not good.
Right.
There's just not enough consumers out there that love it.
And I think that's a benefit of us being like, it's just the two of us. We're the only owners. So like if Mark's like, I want to do a bourbon barrel aged beer, I'm like,
Yeah.
when I tell you no?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
You don't have a board that you have to
No,
answer to
I don't
or
have to
anything.
answer to a board. It's just the two of us of, what's on your agenda? What do you want to
Right.
make?
There's
Well, we got time for one more. Go ahead. Do you want to pour? What do we got?
Yeah.
We're going to choose one more?
Okay.
And then we'll do that while, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Isn't there like a chocolate cake beer or something?
There is.
Let's do that one.
Can we do that one?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I've been eyeballing that one.
No,
That's a
it's great
fun
beer.
one.
Even you guys offered it to me even on our phone call before, and that was like one of my first choices.
Great beer.
It's so fun, and this is something Vito talks about, and I've really picked up from just watching and learning from our local brewing community.
Yeah.
There's so much fun involved, and you learn so much when you utilize your local ingredients and you
Sure.
play around a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun to break the traditional mold.
Well, I think you're right, and I like that you guys have. Okay, you probably don't always feel this way because you're doing so many things at one time, but you guys kind of have the time and space because of the smaller volume to be more thoughtful about every beer that you make. And I don't mean that bigger breweries aren't thoughtful about the beers that they make, but you guys can really dive into every single one.
Well, they've got production to keep up, canning and
Yeah.
all these other things. We're really meticulous about our accounts. We try and support Benicia first, so we can be found at most of the restaurants and bars in town to be able to access our beer. Got a handful of others, but it does allow us that flexibility to be like, all right, we got to get these made because this is what's in the restaurants, but
right.
he gets to have the time to play with some
to do
cool other
these.
stuff. That's,
Sure. And especially if you're doing some of this alternating proprietorship,
Totally.
partner brewing,
Yep.
then if you want to go to your parents' backyard still and brew three barrels, yeah. By the way, I just took one quick sip of this, and it's also delicious. How old is this beer?
This is fresh.
This is fresh.
Yeah, we
This
just
is
made
fantastic.
Mark hand roasts all the coconut for this.
Well,
Wow.
I mean,
because you don't have enough to do.
so I think we need to.
This one's easy though.
Like in the oven?
I'm not.
I think he's
yeah,
also
in
like
the
a
oven.
little, he's a control freak at times too. So it's like you
Never
can't
would've
buy
guessed that,
roasted
Natalie.
coconut. I do it myself.
Look,
Yeah, because they're not going to. Oh, my God. Because nobody else knows how to roast
Nope.
coconut.
Not the same.
Yeah, hey, listen, Maui Brewing Company still to this day, at the size they are, roasts all their own coconut because they also don't trust it. Yep, they really do. If you
Shouldn't
go,
have said that.
sorry, Natalie, I'm like,
No.
I'm encouraging him.
I've really tried some of those coconut extracts,
Yeah, man.
but
No, I get
there's
it.
nothing
Yeah.
truer than toasting the coconut and pulling those toasted oils out of the coconut.
Yep.
It really brings it.
I have it on authority that if you just add coconut milk or some coconut stuff to your fermenter, it's going to coat the inside of your fermenter
In a bad way.
in a really bad way. Yeah.
Wow,
Wow.
I
that's gross. Can
have
you
to
even
say that I
CIP
didn't-
that, or you
I
have to get
didn't
in and
do that myself.
Okay.
We did not do that. But
Okay. Asking for a friend.
I'm bringing it to everyone's attention. Please don't do that.
Don't
unless
pour
you're
coconut
crazy.
milk into your. Okay.
No, because it. That's a bad deal.
Yeah.
So you should, and I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But once you're that big, you have employees. It's okay.
Yeah. Just invite them in to have at the tap room.
But I do want to bring to everyone's attention, because I know everyone listening can't really taste these beers, but this Russian Imperial Stout was 10%. This one's 4.2.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's it's got a lot of chutzpah for a
It
little beer.
does, because from a alcohol like heat, to me they taste very similar.
It doesn't.
I
mean,
wouldn't have called one or the other more alcoholic, right?
Yes, I can definitely sense the difference in alcohol, but the body and the flavor and like the substance of the beer is not less.
Right.
Like it keeps up.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty good. Not barrel aged, or this one's also barrel aged?
No, this is, we just made the beer, and then I added the coconut after I got the yeast off of it.
Okay.
So one thing I always try to do is cold crash, pull my yeast off before I do any dry hopping. I've really experimented a lot with the, what is that? Teresa, help me out here. When you're dry hopping with the yeast still in kind of secondary
like
fermentation.
dry hop.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's great if you got a lot of money to waste yeast.
Right.
Have fun.
I don't waste yeast. We don't do that.
Yeah.
We do that like selectively, but I don't really personally. I don't think you get a big benefit from dry hopping mid fermentation, because the yeast, like all those lovely hop oils and hops, tend to stick onto your yeast and just drop out with the yeast.
Yeah.
We're small, and being small, there's a lot of things that we talked about tonight that exacerbate just boom, 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 and throwing everything all over the place, right? But there is so much conservation in what Natalie and I are doing. We were utilizing our family to help make the beers during the time that we're doing our day jobs.
Yeah.
We are moms helping roast and toast the coconut. We are conserving it every single step of the way. You've got to
See, I like the way you're bringing it up, because when we have larger breweries on, they'll of course talk about how when you scale up, you have pounds start to matter. So they're starting to conserve on the ingredient side. Well, you're conserving human resources as well. And that's a different thing from a larger brewery. So I think it's a fantastic point that you make, that it's like, yeah, we're not just, okay, a couple more pounds of grain here and there for you guys is not really a big deal. It's kind of like even for home brewers, we're like, all right, another pound of grain. I'm not saying it's nothing.
Right.
But your human resources are very, very important.
Yeah, electricity, water.
Yeah.
Remember, we're still on the residential, so we slip into the tier 3 categories.
Oh, gosh.
Right?
Can I just say to our listeners who are not from California, Pacific Gas and Electric, Tier 3, go fuck yourself. Oh, sorry for you. Can I say that for you guys? Go fuck yourself, PG&E. It's crazy expensive.
High in the water.
Yeah. Oh, of course, yeah. We're in a drought. We're in the most severe drought in the history of California.
Yeah.
PG&E is now charging us for all the fires that they started.
In Napa.
That was approved by the California state legislature.
Oh, I
know. Okay. Sorry. It's a quick tangent. Very quick. I'm sorry.
You go right ahead.
The state of California went ahead and decided in their ruling that PG&E was at fault for several of our most devastating fires ever. Okay? So they went, it's your fault. We have ruled that. We investigated, and it's you. So you're responsible for X amount of dollars, which who even knows what that number is anymore. Then PG&E appealed to the state of California and said, cool, we're going to accept responsibility. They didn't have a choice. They were found guilty. Would you mind if we charged our customers extra to pay those fines? And the same legislative body that found them guilty said, yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, then what's the fucking difference if I'm paying for it anyway?
Exactly.
Yeah.
carry on.
Now you're just.
How much more time do we have?
Not much. So
Okay.
I apologize for my rant, but go ahead.
I want to focus on a couple quick aspects here. So if any brewers out there that are looking into starting in a small scale, don't have the investor capital to start out, please reach out. There's so many resources, and I think that we have a lot of those answers. Maybe not for your region, but if you email Mark at bruehol.com, I'd love to talk to you and help you out and helping put your dream together. And then the other thing we need to talk about and kind of finish up this well-rounded beer is the malt profile and the hops. And you've got 22.1% of Maris Otter. We really wanted that roasty, toasty, bready characteristic. You've got 22% Pilsner to kind of just fill it and lighten it out a little bit. The Vienna malt is at 22% as well. So you've got 3 really big base malts there, all kind of complementing and leaning on each other shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
But you got 10% Carafoam from Wireman. You've got 10% Cara Munich 1. You've got 8% chocolate, and you've got 3.6% white wheat to give it a softer little touch of softness on the mouthfeel, and then
different malt.
2% roasted barley.
Okay.
All right, and we're touching with. This is really interesting. This is going to kind of throw a lot of you off, but we're using East Kent Golding. We're using a lot of English hops. So we've got East Kent Golding and Fuggle in our.
Oh, nice.
Right.
I think that's a good choice, actually.
Yeah, totally.
Especially if you're gonna.
That's great for this style.
Right? If you're going to go a malt bill like that, don't then go further and go, and then we tried Simcoe. And all it, right? Like, you got to choose your battles. I think you chose the right battle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. No, that's a great beer, man. Both these last two, these are the perfect finishing beers.
This is beer dessert. I mean, this is like way more my speed than a 10% RES. Like, this is like a low ABV.
It's my birthday
delicious
beer.
It's
Nice.
really good.
February of every year, I'm making this.
You're brewing this one.
Nice.
Okay.
Yep.
I like when you can make your own birthday present, right?
Yeah.
Mark's like, I'm a grown-ass man. I'll make my own birthday present if I want
you gonna
to.
tell me no?
Yeah, you've already said it yourself, Natalie. What are you going to tell me no?
Whatever you want to do.
All right, listen, you two. I got to wrap things up for us. We're a couple hours into the show. I want to thank you so much for coming out and bringing us all this beer. Delicious, delicious beer. Thank you for launching your IPA here at the Hop Grenade. I like that. Yeah, this has just been really nice stuff.
I just have to put a special mention in for Beardy and Candace.
Oh, yeah, we have a couple nice mentions to do. Okay, yes, go.
They had their baby girl.
They did.
She is healthy. Everybody's doing well.
Do you have a name yet?
I do, and it's on my phone.
It's like Lee something.
It's like Annabelle
Lee.
Annabelle Lee.
I heard that was the unofficial name, Annabelle Lee. And I saw the baby, and it was a little puff monster, little puffy-faced baby that was already pulling on Beardy's beard.
Exactly.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, that might be the one thing that causes him to
Yeah.
shave his beard or just do a little braid.
Right.
And do like an over-the-shoulder throw.
Yeah, yeah.
Keep it up out of the way.
Congratulations to one of my best friends on earth, Beardy, and Candy. You're okay too. Just kidding, Kenny. You know I love you. Congratulations on your baby. I should have arranged a phone call with them tonight. Maybe we'll have to do that next week.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, like honestly, they're probably not ready for it. So next week will be ideal.
Okay, on that, yes.
Can I say one thing?
You hang on,
So,
let me get your camera.
I don't know if
on.
she's listening, but our taproom manager out there with the blonde hair, Amanda, her 40th birthday's tomorrow.
Ah,
So I want to tell her happy 40th birthday on
Happy
air,
birthday,
which
Amanda.
she's not going to hear because she's not looking. But
they might be watching on YouTube. But happy birthday, Amanda.
happy birthday, Amanda.
Hey, 40 is the new 20.
That's right.
That's what I say. Right? In other words, I pretend I'm still in my 20s.
Yep. Me too.
Okay, and I hope this isn't too weird of a tradition. A transition, I should say. Transition. Also, a person passed away this weekend that, I hadn't seen him in a long time, but he's one of the original beer podcasters with me. John Foster, that some of you, if you listened in the early days of the Brewing Network, or to his own podcast, which he started shortly after mine, called Beer School. John Foster passed away. I think it was over the weekend, and I don't even know the details. But he was a young man, in my eyes, anyway, younger than he should have been. And I just wanted to give a special shout out. He was always a sweetheart, and always we collaborated quite a bit. He was always very helpful. I enjoyed spending time with him. And I was kind of a dick in the beginning of the Brewing Network, especially to other podcasters. But I wasn't to John. There was something about him. And him and I had a good rapport and a good relationship. And I was always just really proud of him for doing what he did. And, he passed away this weekend. And, I would be remiss if I didn't just acknowledge that he was a good man and a good person and a good influence in my life. And he was a bit of a techie and a brainiac like yourself, Mark. So when I would have issues with audio and stuff like that, boy, he would even go over my head with what I needed help with. He was so good at it. And we were, I don't know, he's a pioneer in the industry right along there with the Brewing Network, because there weren't even podcasts when him and I started. So John Foster, you will be missed, and the beer industry really cares about you and is going to miss you. So thanks for all you did, man. All right, folks. I want to end on a note that says I'm very thankful for all of you and for being on this show. I had a great time talking with you guys, so I want to thank you. Natalie, thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you.
I know we had to switch up the dates and stuff, and stuff
happened.
going on in our
That's
personal
right.
lives. Both of us with our dad, by the way.
know.
So I appreciate you. I never like to switch dates. Thanks for being here and getting us beer.
Yes.
And Mark, you're a pleasure to speak with. Your passion comes through in everything that you've said tonight. So thanks for talking beer with us, man.
Thank you so much.
I really like it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck to you guys. Sleep more, will you? And I don't mean that because you did poorly. When I started this company, I didn't sleep much either, and I'm just giving you my advice. I don't have any other advice to give you.
We'll do another one when we're more rested.
Okay. No. That's what I'm saying. You didn't do that. This is more me thinking back on the early days of the Brewing Network, and because I don't have a lot of advice to give people, you seem to be doing everything just fine.
Thank you.
So my only advice to you is just on the down low, sleep more for your own sakes,
Yes,
right?
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Jamil said take more vacations, and I'm
Oh.
super into that.
Okay.
That too.
You know what,
100%.
Jamil? I've been telling you that for 10 years also, Jay-Z. So I love that you're passing along that advice, and I hope you also are now taking it yourself. He
Yes.
is right about that, you two.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good advice.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks to Bruehol Benicia. You can go to Bruehol, BRUEHOL.com.
BrewholBrewing.com.
BrewholBrewing.com.
Yeah.
And learn more about everything that they're doing. Go check out the tap room in Benicia.
Yes,
What's the
please do.
address?
4828 East 2nd Street, Benicia, California, 94510.
There you go. Or, of course, just use Google.
That's right.
Like everybody does. Yeah, a lot of fun. Teresa, thanks for making the drive down today, doing the
Hey,
show.
anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime I can possibly make it happen.
I love it when you're here. Thank you for helping out. All right. We are out of here. I'm actually back tomorrow already. We're doing a homebrew show, an all homebrew show. Woo! Yeah.
It's all homebrew anyway, isn't it?
Right.
An all homebrew show about my Dortmunder that I got to brew, and I really should call it Tasty's Dortmunder, that I got to brew with Chris Graham. So we're going to try that beer, talk all about it, and then pray for us to win at NHC. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care of yourselves and your beer.